On my show now, it's always good to get previous guests on my show. I have Judith Owen with me right at this moment. Hello there, Judith. Thanks for joining me.
Hi.
How are you
Hi.
today?
I'm all right. Good to be back with you again.
Yes, after all this time, I believe it was early 2022. Time flies, doesn't it?
I know, it's scary.
And what have you been up to since then? What's been going on in your world?
Pretty much constant touring
Mm,
with the record. It's just been extraordinary. It's been a phenomenal run. It's just
mm,
been getting more and more love, more and more shows, and just played in London's Jazz Cafe, which
mm.
was extraordinary, a truly magical evening. So I feel like I've been on a beautiful journey with this album, and it's not over yet. It
Mm.
just continues.
That's fantastic to hear. One of your tracks I've received is called "Come and Get Me, Honey," a classic vintage record sounding song.
Yeah, it's Come On and Get It, and
Mm,
it was by the woman that started it all, and it's the title track, obviously, of the album. Come On and Get It. It's by Nellie Lutcher, who really was the reason that I fell in love with these women, these unapologetic ladies of the 40s and 50s jazz and blues. And she's the first person that I came across thanks to my dad, who owned a record of hers called Fine Brown Frame, and I heard it, and it was life changing for me
mm,
because I was already obsessed with the piano, I was already obsessed with music,
mm,
but she she was so unique, unapologetically herself, so singular, so wonderful and accomplished, but so brave, so fearless in what she did. And it really made me want to be that kind of a powerhouse at the
mm,
piano. And that was the beginning of my love affair with these women. So, and all this time later, of course, here is the album that really celebrates them.
mm. And this is a special album. I know it's got a deluxe edition, so there's some extra features on it this time round.
Yeah, I've got some extra some of my favorite songs that we couldn't cram on the digital pack and on the CD. So there are four extras on the vinyl, and it is like a double vinyl heavy gauge. I just Nothing makes me happier than hearing that needle drop. But it's also an extraordinary package. It's really a collector's item because visually, presentation wise, the whole thing, it really is it's meant to transport you back to a different time, a different era, a different place, and it really does do that.
Mm.
So it's you've got the full experience with the extra tracks. So and also then you get I think you get seven altogether when you get the vinyl, because there's a few more digitally as well that comes with that. So yeah, I love vinyl. I'm thrilled that people are buying vinyl again and enjoying it again. It's a gorgeous way to hear music, especially jazz.
It's amazing how things come back in waves, doesn't it? You know, fashion and music. You know, vinyl. Yeah, very good
Yeah, I
point.
know. I know. It's never gone out for me. I've got My husband and I've always been like turntable addicts and audiophiles, and because I like classic music, but I like hearing it in the form that it was originally came out in. So it's always been a joy to have vinyl. It's something very, like I said, the needle drop. It's such a particular sound, the crackle, the hiss. It's amazing.
And your new album, I know jazz is close to your heart, but does it have elements of other styles? You know, like blues or boogie woogie in there?
Um, you mean the next one I'll do? You mean?
I suppose, yeah, this one and the one coming up as well, if there is one in the pipeline.
Um, it really is about these are all songs from the 40s and 50s. So the these are the pop songs. These are popular songs of the time. They were meant for you to dance to. They weren't about getting, deep and meaningful. I'm somebody who's normally behind the piano writing my own music and definitely expressing myself in a different way, in a very sort of jazz inspired way. But these are absolute joyful gems.
Mm.
Um, and they were meant to entertain people, made them want to dance. And I think I made this album. I mean, and it's with the most extraordinary New Orleans band that I have, my gentlemen callers, as I've called them, from New Orleans, and it really does have a a joy and a sex appeal to it that is very much a New Orleans thing. It's a very New Orleans sound. So it has my, of course, delivery and takes on these songs, but it's authentic. It's authentic to what these were and what they are. And it really was the best thing I could ever have done to come out of COVID. I mean, that's the reason I did it. It was to do something joyful and uplifting to get out of COVID, because I was so depressed. We were all so depressed. And I think people need that escapism and distraction, and like I said, to be transported now. Definitely right now that things are really tough. Things are difficult everywhere, and I think people look to the arts, look to music, look to entertainment to lift them up.
It's nice to see your grand piano in the background there.
Yeah. I can't, I can't be too far away from a piano, I have to say. It's interesting because on this show, as in this music, a phenomenal New Orleans pianist, David Tukanowski, who really is the person that you want to be playing this music. That's not the style of piano playing that I do, but David, he's there at the piano throughout the show, and then finally I get to the piano and do the thing that I love the most, and that my relationship to the piano is one I've had since I was 4 years old. It's my best friend. I'm looking at myself here in the Zoom and just thinking, oh, isn't that a beautiful thing? I could just happily sit and watch, just stare at a piano. I love hearing other people play it. I love seeing people perform on it. But it's I feel like it's part of my physiology that that I'm absolutely part piano. Maybe that's it at this point, but yeah, I love it.
And what does it feel like to get such praise from, publications, magazines such as I've got here the Rolling Stone France and the Times UK? They saying very good things about you as an artist and your new record as well.
Yeah, I've had raves from just about every. I mean, I just haven't had it. I'm serious. It's just amazing for me to not have. I mean, I haven't received anything except raves. That's extraordinary, and you just kind of hope for that. It never happens, but it has. It has this time. So it's unthinkable. I mean, maybe I'll get one, but so far, touch wood, I haven't got that. It feels vindicating, and it's a relief, and it's just one of those things where you know that you've really done something that's brought great pleasure to people, and that has captured people's imagination, and is it's doing the thing that you wanted it to do. I made this record so that people would feel the joy that I feel when I hear this music, that would know these women, that would know their stories, that would know how much they have influenced me and so many women like me, how they opened the doors, but how they really are. This music is an exercise in female self-confidence, and it's so delicious. So I really am thrilled that this has opened up their music to another generation, but also that it has allowed me to be the kind of performer, the kind of entertainer that I've always been inside, but now I finally get to actually be that in all ways whilst I'm doing this music.
And they say this type of music is vintage. Like vintage can mean timeless, ageless.
Yeah.
You mentioned like the younger audience. How crucial is it to keep introducing jazz music to like the next generation?
Yeah.
And is it good that there's more jazz festivals popping up around the country, especially around this time of year also?
Yeah, I think jazz is a living uh, art form. I live in the place that it was that its birthplace in New Orleans. It's not, when you're in New Orleans, you realize that it's not treated like a museum piece with, like, it's not carefully treated. It's not polite. It's not safe. It's anything but. It's greasy. They describe it as greasy and sexy and loose, and it's definitely not polite. And it has that sexiness that jazz is, that's where jazz is from. And so I think that to bring it to new generations, to constantly be bringing it forward, to be a living thing, is really, really important. I love the fact that my audiences are so broad, that I have so many young people in my audiences, that I get emails and texts and on social media from so many young people, especially young women, who want to know about these women, who want to know about these aspects of being unapologetically, a female performer, and being this bold and brave. And I think that that it's important to me that this music is entertaining, but it's also educating as well. It's also really imparting something important about how to be um, a, a strong and vital woman. Whether you're a performer or not, it's there's so much in it about being enough, about being yourself, about embracing yourself, about being unapologetically yourself. Are you using that word? But it is a fact, and I think its appeal is for men, women, and everyone in between, because it really does blur the lines. You know, I'm this kind of androgynous, suited woman with tons of hair who is keeping it on, not taking it off. This is a very different view of sexuality and being a sexy woman. It's about having confidence, and confidence is sexy, as we know, and that's what these women were. So it's a very much a wink of the eye. It's double entendre. It's innuendo. It's brilliant music. It's absolutely the greatest musicianship with these players. So I really, uh, really love when I have this young, hungry, joyful audience, most of whom say to me at the end of my shows when they see me afterwards, "I didn't even think I liked jazz." That's incredible to me. I didn't even think I liked jazz. And that's because it's like there's a lot of different forms of jazz. There's a lot of different types of jazz. This is the most infectious and accessible because these songs were built to entertain. They're short, they're sweet, and they're packed with melody, and they make you want to dance and they make you smile. And that to me is like that's the way in. That really, really is the way in. So yeah, I'm the show I did the other night at Jazz Cafe was so many young people. It filled my heart up to see it. It really did, because of what it meant to me as a kid. You know how that affected me when I was a young girl. It's fantastic. It really is.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much for joining me today. It's really refreshing to hear, like, your passion for the music as well, and the audience and my listeners, they have a real treat. Go and buy the record, available on all platforms and outlets. Is it?
That's right. It's Spotify and streaming on Amazon, everywhere else for that matter. You can go judithowen.net to find out where I'm playing next. You can get the vinyl, of course, from all those outlets and on my website. If you're in London in December, come on down. I've just added a show on December 10th at Holborn Live and Pizza Express. I'll be bringing the gentleman back from Paris just to do a very special Christmas show, but with the most delicious versions of Christmas songs that you've ever heard. So that will be the next thing I do in Britain. Until then, I'm back on the road in American tour, and then another European tour. So glad to be able to come back to my home and do that again, because there's nothing like it.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, best of luck with this new LP of yours, and
Thank you so much.
safe travels wherever you go. And we're going to play one of your records on now on my show for you and my listeners out there.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
always great
Thanks for
to
having me
speak
on.
with
Good
you.
to see you again.
Yeah, see you soon. Take
Bye
care
bye.
out there. Bye now. Goodbye.
Cheers.